You're welcome back. And of course, we are live on X Spaces. You can get interactive with us there. We're also on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course, on manjoyonline.com. I will share your comments and questions with the rest of the world. Now, this afternoon, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Raj has confirmed that it has indeed received a petition from a private citizen calling for an investigation into the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, over his involvement in the dollar gift controversy. Now, the petitioner, Eric Dumenu Akachi, also alleges that more than 100 million cedis has been deposited into Sammy Gyamfi's account since he assumed office as CEO of Gold Board, and calling for a formal probe. Now, the Gold Board CEO has come under intense public scrutiny after a viral video showed him handing out undisclosed sums of money in US dollars to self-styled evangelist Patricia Oduokuranti, also known as Agrada. Now, let me now walk you through the details of that petition in this graphics. So the petitioner writes in his personal capacity as a citizen of the Republic with a civic duty to provide for an Article 41F of the Constitution of the Republic. And he brings this petition under Article 21.8. And then I think we can go to the reliefs that he's seeking from the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. And he says, it's come to my notice that certain development, Sammy Gyamfi currently has two private accounts with Consolidated Bank Ghana. One is a dollar account and the other one a CD account. And he says, further credible intelligence revealed that these two accounts have a whooping sum of over 100 million Ghana cedis as lodgements in those accounts. Now, it is important, according to him, to understand that this account is reliably informed through a credible intelligence that prior to his current position, those accounts never had the said substantial inflows. Again, he says, I contend, including the slashing of dollars on May 10, 2025, leads to one and only irresistible conclusion of the accuracy of mathematics that these are perfectly instances of alleged engagement in suspected corruption which falls within the investigative mandate of this commission. And I'm by this complaint calling for a full-scale investigation into the source of the money. He says, I'm aware and believe same to be true that the office will give this petition the needed consideration and attention it deserves. Right, so the petitioner has been explaining what motivated him to file the petition, including his revelation that Sammy Gyamfi has millions of cedis in his bank account.
There are institutions of state that are clothed with powers to do such investigations and bring any perpetrator to book. So I have been a crusader long ago. I have been someone who championed a fight against corruption. So that is the main purpose, for SRAC to investigate the claims and also come out with any substantial report that either vindicates the person or otherwise indict him.
Well, I may not be Shraj, but I'm quite curious. What's the source of your intelligence?
I cannot disclose that on television, but I have a lot of people that are engaged to do my fact-finding. So it is not appropriate that I disclose such names on television. I have not even sought their permission to also do that disclosure.
Okay.
So it's inappropriate to do that.
But for this video, would you have petitioned Shraj on any public official, or because of the video, that's what prompted you to petition Shraj?
It's because of the video.
What's in the video?
Well, if you look at it, we are barely 5 months into this government. So if a public officer is seen in public giving out dollars, and we are in Ghana, it's not even Ghana, giving out dollars to people, who knows the number of people that dollars have been given is only the one that we've seen on television that we can speak to. But those that have not been captured, we can't speak to it. So it's proper that we put some of these petitions forward so that proper investigations can take place. And it will also serve as a deterrent to those who occupy public office, so that they know that citizens are watching. This time the youth are watching, and we are not going to take anything for granted. We
If it
hold
was
public
CDs,
officers accountable.
If it was CDs or a checkbook, would you have petitioned Shraj?
If it was a CD or a checkbook too, I would have still petitioned Shraj.
Will it matter the amount?
The fact that I've come up with. Because if I had, it's not just about the money, but based on the fact and the intelligence that I have picked together with my lawyer who have directed to file, I think there's enough for me to petition Shraj. So even if it was CD and I've come across this fact, I would have still petitioned Shraj.
Right. So you say that because of what's in the video, and so, but if it was CD, will the quantity as well matter?
Yes, the quantity will matter.
Okay.
It will matter because if you are giving an amount of money to an individual.
Well, so you heard the petitioner there, explaining why or what motivated him to petition Shraj to go into the bank accounts of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. He's alleging that the account has witnessed some appreciation in the region of 100 million Ghana cedis, and he is of the view that it may not have been gotten through legal means. The reason is asking Shraj to go into this matter, that this matter relating to the acting CEO of the Gold Board will not go away anytime soon, because the opposition NPP is calling for immediate sanctions and investigations into Mr. Sammy Gyamfi after video surfaced showing him distributing US dollars to a self-star evangelist Patricia Siama, also known as Agrada. Now speaking at the NPP headquarters, the national organizer Henry Nana Boakye alleged that Sammy Gyamfi's actions violates Ghana's Foreign Exchange Act, anti-money laundering laws, and a code of conduct for public officials. The NPP has urged the president to take swift action against Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, warning that failure to do so would render his recently launched code of conduct meaningless.
Which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently enacted code of conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outlawed by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars.
So let's get some details on the story, and joining me in the studio is a member of parliament from Bekwai, Ralph Opoku-Adusei. Also on Zoom is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustafa Gbandi, also serves as Deputy General Secretary of the party. And it is important to say that we reached out to the petitioner, Eric Demenu, who had initially agreed to speak to her. However, he cancelled the interview just minutes before we went on air, claiming he has been receiving threats from unknown individuals, the reason why he is taking this particular action. For that reason, he is unable to join us for this conversation. But the NPP, they've been hard on this matter. Yesterday, the minority group in Parliament held a news conference on this same matter. Now, the party itself has taken a position and they are demanding special probe into this matter, especially from the CID and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. It's unclear whether they will have their day. But Ralph Opoku said and Mustafa Gbande are here with me. Mustafa is on Zoom and we'll bring him on shortly. Mr. Opoku, good afternoon, welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Sitting on the seat of a very, the venerable former member of Parliament for Bekwai, Joseph Osewusu.
Yeah, indeed, it is a big seat, but we are trying to fill the shoes, and I'm sure with the grace of God, we will get there.
Why the NPP's interest in a matter that every politician at one point in his or her life was undertaking a similar exercise? I mean, doling out money to people who come to you is not new to you in the business of politics. So why the sudden interest in what Sammy Gyamfi has done?
Thank you very much, and I'm very, once again, grateful for this opportunity that you have given me to speak to this matter. Ordinarily, it won't be an issue for the NPP to take this matter up, but the magnitude, we are talking about foreign currency, United States dollars, that is a bit frightening. So what has accounted for the interest, if you ask me, is to put a stop to what may trigger others to follow suit. And that is why the NPP government want to hold the president to account at this very early age to ensure that his own code of conduct that he has outlined, he is adhering to them. And that will have a ripple effect of benefiting the entire nation, because we commended him when this whole code of conduct was rolled out. We all believed it was a step in the right direction. But in the end, just barely a week after, you have your own communication director, and at the same time, or doubling as the director of Gold Board, flouting in the face of it, flouting these, if you like, the code of conduct, then clearly the president must set an example out of this. Let me state this clearly, that the NPP government is not after Honorable Sammy Gyamfi losing his job. No. We want to ensure that the law in this country works and applies to all equally. That there is the law that prohibits transactions or dealings in foreign currency. And that law is the Foreign Exchange Act. And if you break that law, the law as it is must deal with you. So we are saying that clearly the Sammy Gyamfi has actually breached these laws, and the law must be made to apply here. So nobody is saying that Sammy Gyamfi should lose his job or otherwise. We are saying that the laws must work. Just as the law was applied when Cecilia, the past issues came up. You recall, their own, very own, I think Victoria Hammer. In her case, he was even anticipating that at the end of the tenure, all that she was looking for is $1 million.
Right.
Just by the mention of $1 million. We all saw what happened to the lady. So what has changed? What is different? You come up with your own...
The only difference in this case is that this is an amount of money given to somebody for free. For free. So
let me take this opportunity to clearly enlighten you on a few things. When you go to the Act, it clearly, as Section 3 and 1 and 4, prohibits the dealings or business dealings in foreign exchange. But then when you come down to Act 33 of the same Act in question, where the interpretations are, it includes gifts, donations, and the rest of it. So clearly, the Act that he has embarked on is caught up by this whole Act that we are referring to. And there's also an Act in this country, which is the Currency Act, that seeks to prohibit the avenues where you promote a foreign currency as opposed to your own currency. And these clearly on the face of the act by this Sammy Gyamfi, clearly he's caught by the law. So what we are expecting to see from the government is a very simple thing, that take this matter up, give it to the investigative bodies, let them investigate. If he's found culpable, arraign him before a court, let him be prosecuted, and if he's found guilty, punish him. If he's found not guilty, discharge or acquit him. It's as simple as that.
And I asked this question earlier on. Who amongst you hasn't done this before?
I can't say that I know of anybody who has done this before, simply because we are talking about dollars. I mean, give 200 cedis, 100 cedis to somebody asking you or pestering you for petrol is in order. But somebody asks you, because we have all heard what was discussed in the tape. Somebody asked you for petrol, and you could see the man, I mean, counting dollars. I could count about 17 to 18 of them. And in the end, he just did stop counting and gave all of it out to her. We don't have a problem, but let me give you the background to this whole issue. We have in this country, we had the PMMC, okay? Just about this government taking charge, you introduce gold board. There was some resistance. That why do you want to monopolize the gold business? They justified upon justification. In the end, you got the bill or you got the act to be passed. Beautiful. You set up the gold board. Now, there has been allocation. When you refer to our budget, $279 million allocated to set up a revolving fund in this gold board. That is one aspect of it. Then you appoint a CEO. Less than 4 or 5 months, he is seen spraying or giving dollars by way of a gift to Nana Agrada. Don't you think that then you are calling the confidence people, the people of this country, they have in this whole gold board, you are actually doing something that will shake that confidence they may have in this gold board? Because it's the same way when Kwame Nkrumah tried to monopolize the cocoa board market by introducing cocoa board. But you see, we jealously protected the cocoa board, and believe it or not, today it is one of the institutions that this country is striving on. So certainly, if you have come up with this beautiful idea, gold board, you should do well to ensure that public discipline, public confidence is protected.
According to the Deputy Finance Minister, your own colleague, Thomas Ampem-Dakom, the gold exports, facilitated by the gold board in the last 3 months, they managed to export over $2 billion of gold. And then they are hoping that they will do $1 billion every month. That for him is a game changer in terms of stabilizing our cedi and then bringing in the necessary foreign exchange. But before you continue on that, let me allow the NDC to have their bite on this particular.
Please do.
Because Sammy Gyamfi appears to be the man of the moment. And Mustafa Bande is a deputy director in charge of operations at the presidency. He also serves as deputy general secretary of the NDC. Mustafa, good to have you here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So, I mean, is the president or the presidency under pressure to fire Sammy Gyamfi?
Well, who is in your studio, though?
The member of parliament for Bekwai.
Bekwai. Okay. So, I would like to address this issue as a deputy general secretary. And of course, I wouldn't convey to you the position of the presidency in this matter. Except to add that I have heard a lot of commentaries on the matter involving my colleague. You see, when you analyze the video, you will see that my brother Sammy Gyamfi, who we all know was extending a gesture which, most of our NDC colleagues, senior people, juniors, feel that it shouldn't have been given to the person that the gesture was extended to. And we respect that. We have also heard a lot of Ghanaians express some concern. And, we respect that also. Look, President Mahama have constituted for the people of Ghana a very humble, conservative government. All right? We, as young people, have been given the privilege to serve. Just as Sammy Gyamfi, a young man, within 2-3 months, have been able to set up a gold board. If gold trade have anything to do with the cedi depreciation and the debt in terms of the dollar falling, then it means that we should actually be praising this young man. If you gave the same tax to the NPP, including my colleagues sitting in your studio, they will go and form an ajapadia around it and plan how to steal the money. That is what their track record have been. And so they are behaving as if $800 is what one have not seen before. Sammy Gyamfi, even before the issues will start, recognize that morally, he ought not have extended that gesture. He respected the concerns that have been expressed. He respected and acknowledged the fact that even our rank and file believe that it shouldn't have been done. And he apologized for it. He apologized because of courtesy. He apologized because of, public officer citizens' respect. He apologized because he's a young leader who accepts criticisms and willing to accept the fact that we must fail, we must learn, we must rise, and we must move on, much as we serve the public. It is not everything we do every day that will be right. But when you have leaders who acknowledge their wrongs, who take responsibility of their conduct, say that, look, in as much as one, Sammy Gyamfi have not committed a crime. He has not spent public resources. There's no evidence to suggest that he has stolen money. He has not broken any law, but morally people have criticized him. He thanked the people of Ghana and apologized for it.
So, Mustafa, you condemn what many are describing as show of opulence by Mr. Gyamfi in this matter?
It is not about condemnation. It is about taking responsibility. Whilst we live at the mercy of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who himself is not a clearing agent, this man sitting at your studio with his leadership and party supervised opulence, stealing, corruption. They supervised arrogance in power, where they took delight in stealing from the people of Ghana.
I mean, the issue...
They actually stole money as if... They stole money as if Ghana didn't have owners. For the past 8 years, destroyed businesses.
Can we come to the issue, Mustafa? Can we come to the issue? Because now...
No, you see, I get very offended when people who lack the moral credibility to talk about issues come to sit in studios and they want to politicize some trivial issues.
But it is the same. It is the same issue. You think that some aspect was not done right.
How clean? We will take this criticism from media people, the people of Ghana, not anybody from the NPP headquarters or the minority. The same people who have put us in a problem. The same people who have brought the standard of politics so low that if you mention to anybody you are a politician, it has suspicious.
But they have quoted, Mustafa, the NPP, at this news conference, quoted the relevant laws that they think that Sammy Gyamfi by his action has broken, including the anti-money laundering law, even your own code of conduct that was launched by the president himself.
They never saw a law when Kenofurata's companies were taking loans as a finance minister and taking percentage as fees. They never saw anything wrong with that. They never saw it. They never saw it when President Akufo-Addo appointed his brothers into government. They never saw it. Incompetent brothers into government. They never saw it when Cecilia Dapa kept millions of dollars under his bed. They never saw it.
So therefore, we should accept what Sammy Gyamfi has done as perfect and equal to whatever you think that the NPP did in the last 8 years.
Sammy Gyamfi's apology to the people of Ghana is a humble one. It's one that is expressed in good faith. To all of you, we believe that as human beings, as leaders, we will stumble at some point. But having taken responsibility, and I have seen a lot of Ghanaians and people react to his apology to say, okay, it shouldn't happen next time. But, I get very concerned when these people, NPP, can go and organize a press conference because of $800, but fail to apologize to the people of Ghana of the atrocities they committed in the last 8 years. When President Akufo-Addo didn't just supervise corruption, we also supervised disrespect. We also supervised stealing. He also supervised destruction of our country. These people sit down and they want to organize a press conference to say Sammy Gyamfi should be sacked. He has broken a law. They never saw even a law being broken by the conduct of Edubuahen. So, you see, these NPP people, it is never about nation building. It's all about trying to to score political goals. To say, oh, okay, Cecilia Dapa is equivalent to Sammy Gyamfi. Anybody who does that is a mad person, because that is not true.
So the demands they are making, I mean, one of them is the fact that this matter should be handled and further investigated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor or the CID. If you say that Sammy Gyamfi maybe for beyond poor indiscretion, he's done nothing wrong, then I mean, his innocence will be established by this body. Will you support further probe into this matter?
At this point, I would like to apply myself to the teeming number of reasonable Ghanaians who say, okay, it should never have happened. It shouldn't happen again. He hasn't broken a law, but we think that because of where he is, it shouldn't have happened. That gesture, even though was of all good intentions, it didn't sit well with a lot of people. I think they are right, and we take responsibility and join our colleague to still apologize to the people of Ghana. It will never happen. We will keep learning, but it doesn't give anybody from the NPP an audacity to sit on TV and to want to criticize this matter, because they don't have any moral credibility as far as corruption-related offenses are concerned. They themselves represent corruption. That is what we have seen in the last 8 years.
And then also,
look, my brother,
I don't know whether you are aware, but a private citizen who calls himself Ahmed, he's petitioned the Shrine. I mean, raising issues with what he described as, questionable money lodged in 2 accounts belonging to Mr. Sammy Gyamfi at the Consolidated Bank. And according to him, the amount standing in the 2 accounts amounts to almost 100 million Ghana cedis. He's asking Strike to further probe these matters. What will be your reaction to this as well before I bring in Professor
President Mahama have made it very clear that he intends to run a transparent government. And he has often cautioned that those who have been privileged and appointed to serve must do so with the highest standard of credibility and integrity. And at this point, the fact that some gesture has gone wrong and the fact that responsibility have been taken will not convince me to say that my brother Sammy Gyamfi has lodged questionable monies. Hey, we have evidence of NPP ministers involved in money laundering. They shouldn't start, because when they start, they would have to run out of this country or begin to bring it out. We know NPP appointees who didn't have land cruisers before the appointment, and they own now properties in cantonment. If that is the way to go, we are ready for them. But I don't think that we'll waste our time on these matters. If someone lodges a complaint against any appointee, he or she will make himself available for the laws to be tested.
All right.
But when it gets to their turn, they should be willing to allow the laws to be tested as well.
All right. Mustafa, hold it for me. I'll come back to you. But let me bring in Professor Kwadwo PhD from the University of Ghana Law Faculty. Prof, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. And let me just simply ask you this. Now, the NPP at this news conference this morning put the matter to the anti-money laundering law that, according to him, by the conduct of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, appears broken as far as his conduct is concerned. And also the code of conduct that President Mahama launched just last week. Are these sufficient, the matter in question, is this sufficient to narrow it down to the laws in question and the fact that it's been violated by Mr. Gyamfi?
Pleasure to have me. I'm not sure I'm aware of the press conference that was held this morning regarding the Sammy Gyamfi saga. And so I'm not in a position to comment in any detail on that. But suffice it to say that as far as the laws of the country are concerned, I've not come across any clear violation of any law by Mr. Gyamfi. Having said that, I think that it is not just the law, but the morality of certain actions or inactions by government officials are subject to check. the person is not just a private citizen, but is a public person. He holds an office in the government, and he represents the NDC in one shape or form. The president came to power trying to make us understand that it is not politics as usual. He came to reset an agenda, and he expects humility and hard work and lack of opulence on the part of his appointees. And so in that breath, what transpired between Mr. Gyamfi and Agrada is quite unfortunate, and it puts the NDC in a bad image. My concern is not about it's not about the money aside, because of the fact that there's no criminality involved, or there may not be any criminality involved, but the moral issues, and secondly, the source of the funding. Normally, you wouldn't find dollars being placed in somebody's car, and we don't know how much that money is. Of course, that is not to question the fact that he cannot earn that money. But that opulence that was displayed, whether in private or in public, is not appropriate. And the argument that it was given to a needy person, I don't think it's neither here nor there, because I think there are more needy people than this woman in question, who became the beneficiary of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi's benevolence. Having said that, I think the NPP is overshooting itself by trying to compare the situation with Cecilia Dapa, because the two are definitely different cases, and we don't have all the facts to compare the two. But even if we do, I'm not sure the scale of it can be compared to the other. So I think in a way the NPP is trying to find a means anyhow to try to link the two together. I'm not sure it stands on solid ground. On the other hand, I think that the NDC, including Mr. Berry, is also not helping matters very well, but trying to justify everything in any shape or form. Of course, he acknowledges that Mr. Gyamfi has apologized, but this is a serious governance issue, which there's a need to address the issue from a perspective where, of course, there has been admission of wrongdoing, but to try to also pit it against NPP's record and so on as a way of covering up for Mr. Gyamfi is also, I don't think, appropriate. We should face things as they are, and to be able to make sure that people will continue to have trust and confidence in Mr. Mahama's, the president's agenda reset, which we all think is very good and very important for the country.
I mean, leading non-opulence is frowned upon in President Mahama's code of conduct, and so is, a directive to his appointees not to be ostentatious in terms of their lifestyle. These two, and they're looking at what has happened, the video on our screens now. Doesn't it fall under these two that the code of conduct is preaching against?
It does. It does, certainly does. Yeah, but again, I don't think the code of conduct talks about giving out money as being in one of the conducts that should be avoided. I think it's rather deals with receiving money. But in the issue of opulence and ostentatious living is clearly shown in the video. And I think the president would certainly have to take certain action on this matter, either some suspension or some repudiation. Something should be done. It shouldn't be left to political commentators to just play ball with it and then feel that we will forget about it the next day and move on to something else. Because otherwise it will constitute one of the breaches, a breach of trust on the part of the current government against the social contract that it has formed with the people of Ghana.
But then again, is the call by the NPP, for example, that the CID and OSP must look into this matter. They make the claim that even though Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is in acting capacity at Gold Board, he's yet to be paid his remuneration because of the way the public sector works. And so for him to be going about, doling out money, and in this case, dollars, is something that must be looked into. Somebody who's taking another angle of this matter to strike, saying that for his own investigation, an amount totaling 100 million Ghana cedis is in the accounts of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi at a particular bank. These matters that are now coming into the public domain, doesn't it make the call for an independent probe more instructive?
Well, that is not out of question. It is something that could be done, and probably it would be better if it comes from the NDC itself to say that we feel that Sammy Gyamfi's hands are clean, and therefore let's wait, dig deeper into the source of funding. And that brings into focus the declaration of assets. I'm not sure I've looked carefully at his position and whether he should have declared his assets, but let's assume that he does. If that is the case, it compromises the effectiveness of the assets declaration regime, because clearly the Constitution says that upon assumption of office and not 3 months after assumption of office. And so His Excellency the President asking his appointees and so on to declare the assets by end of March, and then saying that they will be sacked if that is the case, but we haven't seen any dismissals flowing from the fact that some have not declared their assets. It's problematic, and it's kind of contradictory to the code of conduct. And the second point is that if this money may have been embezzled, that supposing as is being claimed, which I don't have the evidence to support that claim. If that is the case, this money could have been embezzled within the time of appointment up to now, and therefore it makes nonsense the assets declaration issue we're talking about. So we need to be serious about this issue of assets declaration, which connects to corruption and related acts, which leads to siphoning of state property and related matters. So I think it's important to look at it from that angle as well. And definitely, I feel that the president has to say something or do something to ensure that.
And I was coming to that question from where you sit as an independent, viewer of this particular matter. What should the president do in one breath, satisfying the call for him to show leadership? In another breath, also the party people saying he's apologized. He's accepted his errors, and for that reason, he should be cautioned and, let go.
Well, I cannot really say what the president could do, but if I were to be in the position of the president, I would have wanted to set a strong precedent by asking for his dismissal. But if that is maybe a little bit going too far, at least some suspension and making a public statement about it will be very important, so that people will know that the president is serious about his word. So I leave it in the hands of the president. It's his discretion to take any decision that he thinks appropriate. But I think to send a strong message, he should be dismissed from his office. Maybe they can find another position for him. But people are connecting his gold board office with the dollars that he has in his car. And this is a question of perception, but perceptions can make an impact on people's impressions about how the government is run. So something definitely has to come from the president.
And then finally, in terms of the protection of his right to privacy, was that right breached in the way and manner the entire episode was recorded?
Well, it's difficult to tell. You don't get all the angles in the video, right? But the fact that there is some people around him, the fact that he opened his car, it wasn't closed, and the fact that he saw people recording it, I don't know if he protested or not, shows that in at least he compromised. He might have tacitly accepted what is going on, and that to me shows some kind of ostentation on his part. So I don't think it's purely private, but it's difficult to tell just looking at what we have in the video.
All right, Prof, let's leave it here. Thank you very much. You made your point. The thing that the president must sack him to make, the president will make an example out of him by dismissing or find another place for him. Ralph, he appears to be singing the same tune with you.
Precisely, and I would want to commend him for such a brave stance taken. That being said, let it be clear that what the
NDC says you have no moral right to criticize Sammy Gyamfi.
I was coming to that. What the NPP is saying, more or less, the NDC should take it as a reminder of their own code of conduct. That even if the president has forgotten so soon, this should serve as a reminder to the president that, look, just a couple of days ago, you outlined your own code of conduct. And here is somebody, not any ordinary person, but somebody coming from the youth with a lot of followers. You're giving the young people in your party opportunity to serve this nation, and therefore you should be seen to be stamping on your leadership at any and every opportune time that becomes available to you. That is what we want the government to see in this whole petition, not necessarily targeting Sammy Gyamfi per se. We want to take this opportunity to tell the government that, look, when you look at the press conference that was done this morning, there are several issues that we sought to remind the president of. For instance, there are people in offices still holding party positions. We said that this erodes public confidence in your administration. We are saying that this young man you appointed, he's shown opulence. Do something about it. Don't just let it slide under the carpet. Because at the end of the day, anything you have done that is commendable, we have commended you. In the same way that we feel that this thing you must act, you should act. Because at the end of the day, we have an oversight responsibility over your government. So you can't set your own rules and decide on them without expecting that we will not deliver on our oversight responsibility. What we are actually doing, when you look at it, I was surprised my brother at the presidency was actually attacking me, because we are helping the government to set up. Even if the government has forgotten about the laws of the land, we are reminding you that there is a foreign exchange that prohibits dealings in foreign exchange. So therefore, if an official or appointee is found doing this, please deal with the matter before it gets out of hand. Is that not a favor that we are doing you? Perhaps if, from what he is saying, if they had performed their duties when it came to oversight responsibility, I don't think he would be here complaining of even some of the things, even though they are not true, that he is complaining about. Because then they sat back, they failed on that oversight responsibility to actually extend that responsibility to ensure that the very things he's complaining about, they did not happen. Right. But here is him proudly saying that this government, the previous government, the previous government, that. But meanwhile, what we are trying to do, that you are trying to stop us, that is what you ought to have done, to have prevented some of the occurrences in the previous government. That is what I expected him to say, than to say that we should rather sit back, fold our arms, and watch them also display. That will not happen, because whether in government or in opposition, we are going to ensure that we deliver on the mandate that the people of good Ghana, they have given us. So we are not here to attack anybody's person. I said this on radio this morning, that what this gentleman, Sammy Gyamfi, has achieved at the age of 35 is commendable, because as a communication officer and bringing the party to power, I don't recall any headlines in Ghana during our tenure that he didn't contribute. So He has done well. But that doesn't mean that if he has flouted the law or he has breached the law, he should go unpunished, because the law is respecter of no man. If you offend or if you commit an offense, the law is there. What happens in the Ghana laws is that our laws are actually codified. What that means is that our statutes, when they carry the offense, they also carry with it the punishment that should be effected when you're found guilty.
Right.
So this is clear. Let the law work. And you are here attacking personality.
I think we still have Mustafa on Zoom. So most you heard the Member of Parliament for Bekwai. He says that they are only seeking to guide you as you govern the country. And we also heard Professor Apajetua. He says that in his conclusion, he's urging the president to maybe consider removing Mr. Sammy Gyamfi from his current position and then putting somewhere else. I don't know what your reactions will be to these matters.
Well, I think Prof was my lecturer and one I revere and respect so much. I would agree with him on all the accounts that he's given. Even the fact that he recognizes that he is not aware of any law that has been breached should clearly tell you that the MPP is seeking to operate outside the remits of the law is the law. Because I haven't seen myself any law that has been broken. But I see morality, and to the extent that a man is humble, a man takes responsibility, you also take responsibility of all the criticisms that came with this matter. You know, we are young people in government who make mistakes, who learn. We have to keep the people of Ghana happy, and our party base very happy. And that for me, I believe that a consciousness of those who have complained is to the extent that they don't want the government to fail. They want to see government succeed so that we don't, miss our steps into what the NPP found itself. All of those accounts are ones that we take on board going forward. I, however, depart from the fact that this is enough to get anybody sacked or anybody suspended or whatever it is.
Hello, Mustafa. I think we've lost him there, and we'll see if we can re-establish contact with him. He was making a point that they agree with you to some extent, but where you are stretching the matter to is where they have a disagreement with.
Okay, first of all, let me take this opportunity to just highlight on the laws that we are referring to. When we take the Foreign Exchange Act, Sections 3, what Section 3 says is that, and I read, a person shall not engage in the business of dealings in foreign exchange without a license issued under this act. And then when you come to Section 3.4, the business of dealings in foreign exchange includes the purchase and sale of foreign currency, receipt or payments of foreign currency, and C, importation and exportation of foreign currency, and finally, lending and borrowing of foreign currency. Now, let's go to Section 33, which deals with interpretation of this act. Now, at the interpretation, which is Section 33 of this act, it clearly defines what constitute payment, which I've already stated when I was giving you the offense that we have referred to. It says that payment means a transfer of foreign exchange made for the purposes of A, discharging a liability or acquiring an asset, B, creating a balance at a financial institution that can be drawn upon, or C, our emphasis, making a gift or a donation. Clearly, the man has admitted that he was making a gift. So where is the ambiguities? Who can argue that he is not caught by this law? It's impossible. This is one aspect of it. The other aspect is when you go for the Currency Act, clearly it also frowns upon the displaying of foreign currency, be it coins or paper notes, just to stop or prevent the undermining the CD in the face of the foreign currency. So these are laws that have been long made and long established, and they have been applied.
So there's no room for forgiveness.
So there is the law, and you're caught by the law. You're caught by the law. Let me say this. I admit his courage that he immediately came up, owned up, and apologized. But let me find out from you. Today, if an armed robber gets up today and comes to the public that I robbed you, and now I've repented, forgive me, Must it end there, or you feel you should go in to prevent him from returning to perhaps this time kill you? So I don't think that the apology is enough. What the apology should rather do is that it should go into mitigating when it comes to sentencing. That look, we all recognize that it is an offense that he has committed, but immediately when the offense was committed, he readily apologized, he owned up. The court will say that, look, we look at all these aspects of your behavior, and then instead of 18 months custodial sentence, we'll fine you. These are things that we want to encourage, but not to say that on the face of it, the person has flouted the laws, and nonetheless, you want us to pardon him. And tomorrow, if it is a different person, what do we do?
So we are winding up on this discussion. So, I mean, in clear terms, what do you expect the president to do? The chief of staff has already taken an interest in this matter. I'm sure he may have even informed the president of the outcome of his engagement with Mr. Gyamfi. What do you expect the president to do?
We expect, first of all, the president to ensure that, one, that the rule of law prevails, that he ensures that the law prevails in this matter. How do we achieve that? The person, it has come to light that he has committed an offense. Hand him over to the security agencies. It will be premature for me to sit here and condemn Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, because there hasn't been any investigations into the matter. But what you need to understand is that it's not just about displaying of the currency. The investigations is going to go into where these monies came from. Right. And a lot of information will come out. And then we'll be in the position at that stage to establish whether or not there's culpability for him to be charged. Our Constitution guarantees freedom of everybody until proven guilty by a court of law. So to me, just inviting the president to refer the matter to security agencies to conduct investigations into this matter is not far-fetched. It is something that ordinarily should flow from them if indeed what they have promised to deliver to Ghanaians in terms of lean government, in terms of good leadership, in terms of accountability, in terms of all these acronyms or whatever that they have come up with. If indeed they mean them, then this is the time to test them. That, look, this is what has happened. We won't end it here. We are going to refer to the security agencies. If the man is found culpable, we will deal with him. If he is found not culpable, then so be it. He will be compensated. He can resume his position. And we'll pray for that to happen because, as I said, he's only 35 years old. And he has done a lot for his age. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
Truth be told, I won't just get up and criticize him. I don't know him from anywhere. I am a member of the minority caucus, and we are called upon to provide an oversight.
Of course. And before you go, let me ask you of this, whether it is coincidence or it's just the state doing its thing. So just some few minutes ago, the Attorney General, acting on behalf of the Republic, filed criminal charges against two individuals, Solomon Asamoah, former CEO of MIF, I think so, and of course, Professor Christopher Gyamfi, and the statement of offense include conspiracy to commit crime to which willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 23(1)(179) of the Criminal Offences Act, and then the particulars. Solomon Asamoah and Professor Christopher Gyamfi, in February 2019, and within the jurisdiction of the court, did agree to act together with a common purpose to willfully cause financial loss in the sum of $2 million United States to the Republic by causing without authorization the said amount belonging to the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIIF, and the Republic to be paid to Africa Investor Holding Limited, purportedly for the building of an urban SkyTrain system in Accra, which system was never built. So I don't know your comments on this matter before I let you go.
Yes, it's a fresh comment. I'm just looking at the charge sheet. My only comment, or perhaps let me say, is that this matter, how it started and where we are, I can tell you for a fact that the prosecution is going to have a lot of challenges because a lot of people have been invited over this
the SkyTrain matter.
SkyTrain matter. And in the end, it was all down to these two individuals being charged. I have not had the opportunity to look at it clinically to actually establish the basis for the charge and what have you. But from where I sit, I would plead with the Attorney General and his team that in criminal jurisprudence, the media should be your worst enemy that you don't want to deal with. Because in the criminal jurisprudence, what happens is that the media, if you try to engage them so much, they will destroy the evidence you have. And that is where we are, because at the end of the day, look at the number of times the facts in this case have gone through the media. They themselves come up with, what do we call it?
News conference.
Press conference. Like what they have done in Kwabena Dubois' case. So the prosecution may be having decent cases against these personalities, all right. But their approach, I pleaded with them when I was on TV this morning. The man, 30 years of experience in law, excellent. No better person, there can't be any better qualification than that. But maybe he's vested in his commercial law, the academic, and then the civil law practice. This is criminal law practice.
All right.
The dynamics are different. I said this morning that in criminal law, the defense is actually called upon not to even defend himself in Ghana here, but just to cast doubt in the prosecution's case.
Right.
So if you look at the threshold, then you compare what is expected of you and what is expected of the prosecution, the difference is very
Quite high.
So therefore, you have to jealously protect
Your evidence.
For instance, look at the basis or reasons given for Kwabena Dubois to be remanded again, that now that these names have come out, they feel that he will interfere with the witnesses. If they didn't know about the facts in the case, the people involved, would this be necessary? No. So yes, I take the position that they are equally competent to do their job, but they should hasten slowly when it comes to dealing with their matters in the media.
Okay.
So that at the end of the day, what we all stand for, accountability. I will never get up and come here and defend somebody who is guilty of causing financial loss to the state because I have a percentage or I have an interest in that money. So therefore, I'm more or less affected by the money that has been stolen.
Okay.
So my position is that if these people are culpable or they are found guilty, the law should deal with them, but they should follow due process and deal with them. But from now on, if nobody has brought it to their attention, I am bringing it to their attention.
That they should limit the media engagement.
The media engagement.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Bekwai in the Ashanti region, Ralph Opoku. And before we take a short break here on the pulse, you do have a stubborn cough, get fast relief with different cough expectorants. It clears chest congestion, smooths cough, and fights the common cold, helping you breathe easy and feel better. Diffenol is available at all pharmacies and OTC across Ghana. Not recommended for children under 6 years. For bulk purchase, please visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals, Spinters Road, next to the Royal House Chapel, or contact them on 053-661432. That's 053-661432. Diffenol, breathe easy, feel better. We'll take a short break and return with more on the pulse.